Hey guys, it's James here with Board Game Spotlight Kickstarters with Alex and Brian Tinsman of Cosmic Balance. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
They've got a game coming out on Kickstarter in the near future, and it looks awesome. And so, after I've really dove into the page and looked around a lot of things, the first thing, the obvious thing that everybody's going to ask about, and the thing that sticks out the most is they have a huge scale right in the middle of the game board. So, guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about the scale?
Yeah, you want to start?
Sure. So we've had this idea for a long time about using some kind of a device to compare two different discard piles. And originally our background is working in Wizards of the Coast on Magic the Gathering, which has the discard pile is sort of a semi-active game zone where things can come in and out. And we thought, what if you can use a device to keep track of how many is in one discard pile or the other. And the theme that naturally came out of that concept was heaven and hell. And so you're a god in this game. When you defeat enemies, you send them to heaven or hell. And heaven is one side of the discard pile, and hell is the other side.
So you can put cards in there, and it will, tip the scale.
And heaven tips down and touches the board, then the gates of heaven are open, and the angels will come out and fight for you, and vice versa. If you decide to send your enemies to hell, the demons will come out and fight for you, because clearly you're deciding to be an evil god at that point, right? And so we had this thing engineered, went through a lot of variations of it before we came out with one that was really balanced the right way, could come apart and be manufactured and shipped without damage, and have all these features.
I think what's really cool is this is not a gimmick. This is actually a major component of the game. And we went through a year of doing engineering with Claudia Ning, who is our engineer, and everything from the flat base. I mean, this is all original. Everything from this flat base here to making sure that it was easy to get the cards out of, that it could fit sleeves.
Right. The original versions had like a solid flat bottom surface, and when you would try to dump the cards out, they would stick. And so we had to put some holes and girders in there to make it easy to dump out. So little stuff like that. This has been through a lot of refinement.
Yeah, and what's really cool is for the Kickstarter, we have, we meet certain goals, and now Claudia, and you can see on our Kickstarter page, we have ones that are more Gothic looking. So, and if you have a propensity towards the good side or the evil side, we have different colored scales to fit, your kind of gameplay taste. So that's kind of cool too. But we had a lot of fun it and working together on it. And like Brian said, I was the brand manager for Magic the Gathering, and he was the lead game designer on 8 sets. And so we just love the idea that we didn't see anything out there where you have a game that has gameplay based around the discard pile. What do you do? And so we were in a heated game playing, and we came up with this concept, and then it just kind of got bigger and bigger until we were like, I think we have a game here. Let's do this. This is going to be great.
Okay, so I heard, and I know you guys have a lot of experience. This isn't your first rodeo as far as getting into making a board game and dealing with that sort of thing. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your past and how that past has helped you shape this game and the other things that you've got coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. Oddly enough, when Brian and I met years and years ago, because we're old, when we met, actually, one of our first dates was at a game store, and we were playing Magic the Gathering. We got introduced to it, and we thought, my God, this game is so much fun. We just were loving it. And he went to the University of Washington. And long story short, he had an internship, Wizards of the Coast, and I began to play test and do events for Pokemon during that time. And so he ended up getting into R&D, and I ended up getting into brand, and we both began to work on Magic. And I think the cool lot of our overlap, we've worked for Wizards of the Coast. I currently work with Riot Games on League of Legends, Pokemon, Microsoft, Xbox. He's currently with Boss Fight Entertainment. They did Dungeon Boss, which was Apple's 2015 pick of the game of the year for last year. So I mean, we have an amazing background across PC, mobile, console, tabletop, free to play, core, casual. Like there's no kind of game that we have not had some experience with. And actually, this is our 5th game that we've actually done together.
A board game?
A 5th board game that we've done together.
Yeah, when you work on really big brands like that, it's a real privilege because you have such a big, dedicated fan base. But the downside of it is they tend to be pretty conservative with the new kinds of products that they want to put out. They don't want to risk doing something that could be a big, left turn or a flop or something like that. And so you get a backlog of concepts and ideas that you'd love to do, but we're like, not ready for the corporate bosses to approve. And so this is kind of a way to take some of the fun of a CCG, a variety of gameplay and custom interactions between cards, and put it into like a sit down in a less than an hour experience, and do some strange and really novel things with it that haven't been done before.
Yeah, I think having the perspective of working across so many types of genres and so many types of gaming platforms, and the fact that we actually are obsessed and passionate about gameplay experiences. We back games on Kickstarter, but I mean, we've been doing this for years and years in gaming. We don't watch a lot of TV, we play games, right? And our kids have grown up playing these games. And for us, a lot of that love has come from all this exposure and understanding what makes amazing gameplay, whether it's on tabletop or whether it's console or whether, it's PC or mobile. And I think that shows in a lot of the mechanics and gameplay styles that you'll see, not just from this Kickstarter, but from other games and our past games. If you were to look on YouTube and look at Curses, one of the first games that we worked on early on, you're going to see a ton of videos of families laughing hysterically. And that's what brings us the most joy. And that's why we're doing the Kickstarter. Is when we were having fun with this game, we thought, oh my gosh, this is something where people are going to love it. Families can play it. It is quirky and it brings joy. And we like quality games, and that's what we aim to provide.
Awesome. Yeah, the family aspect of board games, that's one of the reasons why I'm here and I do what I do, is because I really enjoy getting the kids and my wife's face out of the phone and around a table and hanging out. That's it's like, who wants to go to dinner? Everybody sits around and stares at their phone. Like, I love watching that in the restaurants. I'm like, they should have stayed at home.
Yeah, the social interaction is huge. And actually, I've seen there is a benefit to having your kids play board games, right? From math to reading to, our son and daughter have done immensely well in school. And I think a lot of it is because of their foundation was based in learning to play games and understanding concepts. And I think it's one of the greatest gifts that parents can do, is to teach their kids how to play games.
Still working on that humility and victory, though, for the kids.
With our son.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
Oh yeah, no, in the play testing, he has dominated a few times, and we're like, okay, bring it down a notch, hon, bring it down a notch. But he's like, I kicked everybody's butt. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. My first grader just got done, and he was awarded the best problem solver in the class. And the teacher said, I know it's because of all the board games you guys play.
Yeah, it is. And actually, our son's school, they pulled us aside. He originally had been behind in reading a little bit. And within a summer, we were playing more board games, and we gamified his learning. And then the principal reached out to us, and she said, what did you do? Because your son jumped two grade levels in reading over the summer. And we said, we gamified his learning experience, and he found the love of, reading through playing games and through finding tangible rewards for him that would drive him to want to learn more. And so we talk about that in some of our our other videos, but we are a firm believer that this is how you can teach and have fun with your family and friends, and continue those bonding experiences, right? It's pretty powerful.
Oh, yeah. All right, we got to move on or I'll talk about kids all day. Okay, so I know one thing that we talked about previously was that you guys have kind of a theme that you're working on with tangible objects. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we are sort of exploring the space of how board games allow people to interact and tell a story using these physical objects.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several that are super widely known and popular, like dice and minis are incredible.
Prevalent.
Extremely popular.
Yeah.
But like, here's another example of a tangible device that you can manipulate and play with and use it to tell a story of, oh, the gates of heaven have opened, and so forth like that. And so we're really interested in exploring kind of the unexplored areas of how you can use those objects as simple, tangible, fun to handle, fun to play with. And so we've got our next few games lined up. They all have that same kind of theme of like, here's something weird and different that you can do that you wouldn't be able to do in a digital game at all.
Awesome. So when we get off this and it's not live, you're going to tell me all about those because I gotta know. No trade secrets here. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm good on that end. What do you guys? You got any things that you want to add to this interview? Give us a 30-second why we should back your game pitch.
All right.
Yeah, so much to say in such a little time.
Yeah, our game has a lot of personality. I'll say that. We're not straight fantasy. There's no wizards or elves or things, even though we sort of are in the fantasy realm. We have farmers and
merchants,
shepherds, and
beggars
alongside the knights and giants, and
wolves.
And so you can kind of go after an economic victory or combat victory, but it's a really unique combination of kind of tactical battling economics, and there's really a role-playing aspect to it, because when you defeat an enemy and you kind of look at them and you say, oh, this is kind of a nice guy, and he has some, flavor text about how he wants to help people, and then you decide, well, are you going to spend eternity in heaven or hell? You know what? Sorry, dude. I need some evil points. Off to hell with you. Right? And there's some people who really enjoy that, and there's some people who have a real problem with that. Like emotionally, they're sort of like, oh man, if I act in my own best interest, this poor little guy is going to spend eternity in hell. And you kind of learn a lot about your friends' personalities when you come up against that moment.
Yeah, and for me, I love RPGs, and what I love about this game is that the characters are very whimsical. It is this kind of crazy fun world, and there's a lot of unexpected things. And we've been creating games for over 20 years, and we have a good understanding of what a good game should be. And we've been working on this for a year. A friggin' year. So I'm very proud actually that we can bring this to Kickstarter, because this is the type of audience, the gamers that back a lot of the games on Kickstarter, they're looking for quality games. And I'm pretty confident that this is the type of game that they would love to play. It's the type of game we love to play, and we have really high standards for games.
Awesome. So I think that put a nice little bow on that. So on my end, on the video, we're going to have somewhere over here, there will be the link to their Kickstarter page where you guys can go on and start, so that you can follow it as it launches, because we don't have a launch date yet, do we?
So we are still working on getting a couple more endorsements, but it's probably about June 15th. We're going to hit the big button for Kickstarter and see if we can get the approval process. I'm thinking it'll be fine, but yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Spotlight family. Let's back a Kickstarter project today somewhere, and happy gaming. Bye.
Happy gaming. Bye, guys.